It never happened. There was no bell, no shared ring, and no judges' scorecards. Both men were at the peak of their fame when each other's name began circulating as the dream matchup. But fate, promoters, and the calendar had other plans, and that fight remained forever trapped in the realm of speculation. Yet for years, in the heavyweight boxing circles of the 90s, one question was repeated more than any other: what would have happened if Mike Tyson had stepped into the ring against Eric Butterbean Esch? And the most provocative answer didn't come from a journalist or a promoter. It came from Butterbean himself, years later, summing up in a single sentence why he always wanted that fight. "We were both going to go in there and fight. Mike wasn't going to run from me." That would have been his big mistake. To understand why that sentence holds weight, you have to understand who Butterbean was. Eric Esch made his professional debut on October 15, 1994 in Birmingham, Alabama, after forging his status as a Toughman contest legend, those raw, unrefined fighting tournaments where he won 5 World Heavyweight Championships and where he got the nickname that would follow him for the rest of his life. They put him on a diet of chicken and butter beans to drop weight and make the tournament limit, and the name stuck forever. When he arrived in organized boxing, he became the king of the 4-rounders, a phenomenon weighing over 400 pounds who didn't need to go past the 4th round to finish almost anyone put in front of him. He would end his career in 2013 with a record of 77 wins, 10 losses, and 4 draws, with 57 of those victories coming by knockout, a figure that few heavyweights of his generation could match in sheer volume. His second professional fight on November 30, 1990.
Tyson comes back. The best action of the fight. Again. A left uppercut by Razor Running.
In the 7th round, Tyson fired off a 6. Referee Richard Steele intervened and halted the bout, awarding Tyson a technical knockout victory.
He wavered in. Low blows by Tyson. And now headed to number 7. Well, that should wake Mike Tyson up. Faded braver. As Douglas did in Tokyo, he has now gotten his taking some steam out of Tyson. I would say those punches took a little bit of effect. Let's see how Tyson.
Tyson once again proved that he was a monster inside that ring, and that only motivated Butterbean. He finally started fighting professionally, but was limited only to 4 rounds. His first big and he for sure put on a show.
He won several regional tournaments and got to the national finals.
To a folk hero, because you announced so many of those. Think of what you can do for him now as a performance.
He knocked the guy through the ring ropes once onto a table, and the guy was 385 pounds. Despite all the jokes in the beginning, he's got Murray Sutherland in his corner.
I'm going to comment on that. I'm really not.
Ring and denying him any chance to breathe.
Of a folk hero to the folks that enjoyed round 1. Nice job by Doug Norris here in round 1. Oh, that time, Doug Norris got his head and his stomach up on him. He's coming forward with some good shots.
It's not his best.
Whoa! And I got to tell you, folks, I've done this. We're all going to go in one fell swoop.
By the 2nd round,
There's the punches around 1. A man who was very prominent.
Over 4th round, he'll get popped.
They clashed heads, and that's what hurt Doug Norris. I was joking, but that was the problem. Doug Norris! It's over.
Time Tyson absolutely dismantled Marvis Frazier in just seconds, starting the narrative that Butterbean might.
The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Tyson comes out.
Before already showed the pattern, a 3rd round technical knockout over Doug Norris. He would cross paths with Norris again on July 28, 1995, this time settling matters early with a 2nd round knockout. 2 weeks later, on August 15, 1995, he finished Paul Springer in the 1st round. And barely 2 months later, on October 25, 1995, he dismantled Pat Jackson, who retired in his corner at the end of the 3rd round, unable to continue. In 1996, on May 14th, he needed all 4 full rounds to dispatch Jonathan Whitfield by technical knockout, one of his most hard-fought victories of that early stage. Jackie Beard. At some point during that same stretch of his career, he also crossed paths with Jackie Beard, a former U.S. amateur champion who had twice fought for the WBA super featherweight world title, light years away in weight and class from Butterbean's 400-plus pounds, but boasting real competitive pedigree to add to S's growing list of experienced opponents. With Billy Eaton, there were two chapters, a majority decision draw on September 13, 1997, and the definitive rematch on March 23, 1998, settled by a third-round knockout. And in 1999, fully established as a national attraction, he closed the chapter that he himself would point to years later as his most convincing proof. On June 26 of that year, he knocked out Peter McNeely in the first round, the exact same man who 4 years earlier had shared the ring with Mike Tyson. That last fact is the cornerstone of Butterbean's entire argument. I wasn't worse than most of the guys Tyson faced during that comeback, including Peter McNeely, whom I knocked out with no problem a couple of years later, Esh himself would say when reflecting on the fight that never was. His reasoning was simple. If he could dispatch in one round a man who had shared the ring with Tyson, why wouldn't he have a real chance against Tyson himself? On the other side of that hypothesis, of course, lies the most intimidating resume in modern heavyweight boxing. On June 27, 1988, in Atlantic City, Tyson needed just 91 seconds to knock out the undefeated lineal champion Michael Spinks in what remains one of the most terrifying displays of power in boxing history. Against Terrell Biggs, an Olympic gold medalist, Tyson showed neither technical nor athletic mercy. He punched him for 7 rounds until the technical knockout on October 16, 1987, in a beating many described as personal. Against Tony Tucker on August 1 of that same year, he had to go the full 12 rounds for the first time in a unification bout, and still won unanimously, proving he also knew how to endure and execute a game plan when the fast knockout didn't come. Jose Ribalta, on August 17, 1986, pushed his endurance to the limit, 3 knockdowns and 10 full rounds of punishment before the referee stopped the fight. Proof that Tyson, even against an inferior opponent, could sustain a brutal pace throughout an entire fight without losing intensity. And then there's the stretch that would likely interest anyone imagining a clash with Butterbean the most, the lightning knockouts. Against Carl Williams on July 21, 1989, the fight lasted 93 seconds. Against Alex Stewart, an undefeated puncher with 26 consecutive knockouts, Tyson wrapped everything up in the first round on December 8, 1990. Against Frank Bruno on February 25, 1989, he needed 5 rounds for a technical knockout that left the British crowd in silence. And against Donovan Razor Ruddock, arguably the most dangerous and technically complete power puncher on this list, Tyson engaged in 2 absolute wars. The first, on March 18, 1991, ended in a 7th-round technical knockout amid referee controversy. The second, on June 28 of that same year, was a unanimous decision over 12 full rounds, the clearest proof that Tyson could maintain his pace against a man with true knockout power in a long, grueling fight. But there is one name on that list that completely shifts the interpretation of everything that came before: James "Buster" Douglas. On February 11, 1990, in Tokyo, the undefeated and unstoppable Tyson was knocked out in the 10th round by an opponent whom bookmakers had written off, a fighter who came in as a high-end sparring partner with no apparent motivation beyond collecting his paycheck, and who...
Now presenting to you the referee in charge of this main event, Octavio...
Tail of the tape, you heard Mike Tyson say before the fight that he's always had a physical disadvantage against his opponents, and here it is, and is in great shape at 220.5 pounds. Rules for the fight, the ones...
His weight, 231
Again, Jimmy Lennon.
pounds. His record, 14 wins by way of knockout. He's ranked number 3 by the WBC, James "Buster" Douglas. And his opponent, the defending champion on my left, really needing no introduction, hired in black trunks. Hailing from Catskill, New York, he weighed 37 wins, no defeats, with 33 big wins. Introducing the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight, Mike Tyson!
Gentlemen, remember, the dressing clinic.
Douglas, Mike Tyson, it would make the shocks in Eastern Europe seem like local ward politics.
Into the middle rounds.
Well, he has convinced Mike Tyson this very first round.
Who likes to work behind a stiff left jab.
I'm surprised he keep that jab out there. He wants to tie Mike up every time Mike gets inside. Is the fact they dropped that right hand of theirs, and Mike Tyson's left hook is no cupcake.
They hit him with a body punch about 45 seconds into the bout. Mike has not yet gone to the body against Doug.
He's one of the few guys I've seen other than Larry Holmes, and maybe a handful of guys that can put a guy down.
He fought a sculpted Adonis named Mike Williams on the undercard of Tyson Spinks, and
Hey! Both heads!
90 seconds in, and as yet Tyson has done no real damage to Buster Douglas. Now Tyson
Still seeing is the fact he steady drops that right hand after he throws it.
an on-rushing Tyson.
All of them too.
Couple of right hands by Douglas. Tyson landing the jab again.
Side. And see, this is to Buster Douglas' advantage.
Jab lands again for Tyson. He has not yet gone to the body. Against Frank. Once he went to the body in round 5, the fight was over pretty quickly.
He's doing a pretty good job here.
Another right hand lead by Douglas, and Tyson lands.
Probably the best round I've ever seen him fight. All right, dude, close the gap.
Fucking jab, baby. Look how to use the jab, the short right hand. Slow down in there. 2 and 3 punches, baby. 3 and 4. Right there. Suck it up. 3 and 4.
That was a very docile round for Mike Tyson, throwing only 13 first rounds against Tyson, and that was it. Let's see if Douglas can sustain it, Jim.
Page. And there was some talk here that he was not as sharp as he has been for previous.
Every time that Mike comes inside, apparently Douglas been doing a lot of watching.
As good as he gets inside right there. He outlanded Tyson by punch stat computations. 20 to
Walk right into, and right through, I might add.
We talked about intimidation before the fight. Douglas has so far.
See, what they want from Tyson's point, they want to see more up doing that.
Another right hand.
Get his punches off first, which is the key to boxing. You get your punches off first.
He's got pretty quick hand, not a lot of power. As Larry referred to when he talked about Tyson walking right through the...
Tyson has a pretty good chin, and he's compact. And what's happened, Tyson keeps that chin tucked in.
As you watch Buster Douglas try to Smith, have thoroughly frustrated Tyson at times with just that tactic.
That's what
Another
happened.
good right hand and a good right uppercut and 2 more good rights. 4 or 5 punch combinations before in his professional career.
Now, Mike is not...
And also a little puzzlement, Ray. He just doesn't seem to know how to go about it. That's another good...
Close the gap, Mike. You ain't inside enough. All right? Come on now. What you said is you come and bounce from inside right now. Get inside. Don't lay back, Mike. Remember?
Douglas firing away. That right was high. Came back with a nice short left, a left jab. Early in that kind of situation, Ray, Tyson likes to duck, let the other man fire, and finish, give him a chance to throw back.
That's what I'm surprised about, that Mike is not retaliating.
Listen to these numbers, guys. By punch stat computations, in the first 2 rounds, Buster Douglas lands 16.
Well, I don't know if he's going to shock the world, but Douglas...
Mike Tyson now is really furious now. He's really rushing this man coming in, but they may find
a blow which has done a lot of damage to previous galleries.
But Tyson comes right through it.
Douglas still outlanding Tyson, out-throwing.
Ended up orchestrating one of the biggest upsets in sports history. It was the ultimate proof that Tyson, despite his terrifying credentials, was not invincible, that a man who was big enough, with the right jab and the courage to stand his ground in the center of the ring, could dismantle all that ferocity if he knew how to work from the outside and sustain it round after round. And that is precisely where Butterbean's argument comes in. He never promised speed or refined technical boxing or the mobility of Douglas. He promised something simpler and deep down more dangerous for Tyson's style, refusing to run. His entire philosophy came down to that single idea. Tyson functioned best against opponents who moved, who tried to box from a distance, who sought to survive rather than trade blows. Against someone who simply planted his feet in the center of the ring, absorbed punishment, and threw back with the exact same intent to end the fight with a single shot, the equation changed. I probably could have cornered him too, since he wasn't taller than me and one of us would have knocked the other out, Butterbean would say about that hypothesis, well aware that both fighters shared the same philosophy of short, explosive warfare. The truth is, we will never know for sure. Butterbean never fought a boxer with the technical level and hand speed of prime Mike Tyson, and his 4-round style was built for very different opponents than a former world champion in peak physical condition. Men who rarely possessed the boxing IQ, defensive reflexes, or explosive footwork needed to make Tyson feel what Douglas or Ruddock made him feel. But the actual evidence from both careers, Tyson's lightning knockouts, his vulnerability against Douglas, Butterbean's raw power, and his refusal to give up an inch, leaves one thing clear. It would have been, in all probability, one of the shortest, most violent, and most unpredictable fights 90s heavyweight boxing could have ever offered. Neither man was built to dance through 10 rounds of technical boxing. Both were built to end things fast, at any cost, regardless of who was left standing at the end. And perhaps that uncertainty, more than any hypothetical outcome, is the exact reason why millions of fans still ask themselves, decades later, what would have happened if that bell had actually rung.